Welcome back to the Real Estate Agent Playbook. Today we are going to do something a little bit different. We are going to have a collab with a business partner of mine, Ashley Bates, out of Central Texas. Ashley has been in the real estate industry for a long time, many years, as she'll explain, but she recently got her real estate license and is selling one home a month right out of the gate. So 7 months in, she sold 7 homes, absolutely crushing it. And I just love to bring agents like this on that come into the industry and have success so that they maybe identify as, something that you feel in yourself or, where you're at. We'll bring, team leaders, absolutely agents that are crushing it, newer agents all across the board, just to bring you a little bit different style on the podcast. So super excited to bring Ashley Bates on. So let's get into it. Okay. What's up, Ashley? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. So excited to have you on the Real Estate Agent Playbook today. We're going to get right into it. We have the intro. You kind of know her background, but Ashley, why don't you give yourself a quick introduction and tell us a little bit about you?
So I'm an agent here in Central Texas, which is booming right now. I've got kind of an extensive background in real estate that led me here. I mean, when I called and kind of got hooked up with you and Taryn and ended up going down that road, but I was an oil and gas landman doing all of the title work and kind of negotiating leases for that, and then was an escrow officer, and then I went from being an escrow officer to the mortgage industry as a closer, and then I was a real estate paralegal, and then I got tired of watching everybody else make the money while I did the work. So decided to make the switch, and it's been running since my feet hit the ground pretty much.
Yeah, that's funny because I like to talk about exactly that. Like, what was your job before you were in real estate? And it doesn't sound like you had any jobs before you're in real estate, all the way back to the to the oil and gas world,
No,
right?
it's and I do say that I had this conversation last night at a charity event that we did here in town that as tedious as those jobs seemed, I loved some, I didn't love some. There were aspects of everything that you would like to change, which is part of what I think drives everybody to go, I'm going to go work for myself. And as scary as that is, I want to have more control over my life. And that's kind of what led me this way.
Mhm.
But I wouldn't be the realtor that I am without that background, because
Right.
I can look at a real estate transaction from every different direction, and I don't have to put my clients on hold and say, I don't know, but I'll find out on most things. Most things I've got a
Mhm.
pretty quick answer for. And so I think that and answering my phone has probably been the two biggest deals with my success.
Right.
So
And no, I mean, obviously, if you know the title, you know the loan side, and the real estate side from your licensing and just being around it. I think that's a huge advantage. Some things I talk to newer agents about all the time is you have to perfect your craft, right? And if you don't have a background like yours, you have to go find it, right? A lot of
yeah,
times we get into it and we're so focused on getting our first deal, those that don't have that background never get it, right? So
right.
it's just like a handoff of the you hand it off to the mortgage officer, you hand it off to the title person. And I think that's a big mistake, because early on in our career, when we have a little bit less clients, a little bit less irons in the fire, we have more time to perfect our craft. And I always say,
Right.
if you're a carpenter, you're not gonna just go pick up a saw for the first time and use it. You're gonna have some training. So learn to use the tools that were provided is absolutely an amazing piece. So obviously, with that experience, taking that, it's very different, right? You're kind of going to grab your own leads. It's direct to consumer, very different than the other two, especially escrow officer and mortgage. What was one thing you did early on that has led to your success in real estate,
Um,
say?
Gosh, I stand on this soapbox a lot. Take the calls. And I still say that I don't care if whatever lead gen thing that you decide is best for you, wherever that is, whether it's something, whether it's the stuff through EXP that we use, which I'll be honest, I don't use that website a ton. I do
Mhm.
put it out. I put out the things on my social media, but I don't care if it's a $18,000 lot in town. That may not make you a bunch of money, but it's going to be a transaction in your history that's going to show up. It's going to be a learning experience for you. It's going to be take the ones that you don't feel like you want to take and find it. I didn't necessarily need it, but I would say it's a scary thing to get into. Not all realtors, even from a different brokerage, even somewhere, find somebody that is completely willing to answer your questions and be almost like an accountability partner for you that will answer phone calls, answer questions at the drop of a hat. That way you don't have any lag time between your client representation and what you're talking about there and actually getting them an answer, because I find that a lot of times you don't get back to that call or the text message or the voicemail. And I learned this in title. It is so much better to just take that 2-minute phone call than have to backtrack and go listen to the voicemails and look at the text and now talk an angry client off the ledge or whatever, when you could have taken that phone call for 5 seconds earlier and put all of it down, before they get riled up about something. It's so much easier just to take the phone call.
Right.
And I say I've taken that from the beginning all the way to now. It's very important to me that I communicate with my clients. And um, also, I'd say that probably anybody, it's not everything is going to come to you at here's your client, and they're pre-approved and they're ready to go look for a house. That is 1 in 20, if that.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of them. You'll see a lot of people complaining on the real estate pages about these leads are junk and these leads aren't working. And that's you as an agent, as what I see it. Sometimes somebody comes to you looking for a rental and it's an easy conversion. I mean, and so I really think just to answer your phone and be super diligent, put in the work. There's always an agent that's willing to work harder or do more or do stuff that's not technically their job.
Mhm.
That's part of it. Be the agent that you would want to be
Yeah.
when you're buying and selling a house, because that's a super stressful time for anybody. I'd say buying, selling, and getting married.
Okay.
The worst thing.
Perfect. Yeah.
Those are awful days to prepare for that are going to stress you out. And we're their tour guide, so be who you would need.
Right. And those closing days are like the wedding day, right? Once you
Absolutely.
get there, it's
That's
amazing, right?
exactly
But
it.
it's getting there that is the hard part. So I mean, you brought up some things in that, and we can unpack that a little bit. Answering your phone, being present, right? You're in Central Texas, $18,000 piece of dirt you referenced. Taking that and having that as a learning experience because you're surrounded by it, right? It's
Yep.
not. I mean, certainly, like if you're getting a bunch of mobile home stuff and you don't have that education or whatever, you have to go out and find it and perfect our craft. But the fact that you're taking a call and at least solving a problem, right?
Yep.
If you get to a point where you don't have that expertise, you can always refer it out. You're still going to get a little piece of the pie. But I also think there's a lot to where you're putting yourself, right? I know your
Yeah.
kind of background and that kind of stuff in the horse side of business, ranch, farm and ranch. And buy, that $18,000 piece of dirt sells just like that $2.5 million piece of dirt, right? And so as we kind of develop that and build those skill sets that matter, that are relevant to our market center, I think that's something that I've heard, from you talking about, okay, this is what I'm doing. And that's really powerful, but it never happens unless you answer your phone, right? We work so
Right.
hard for the leads and we talk about lead generation and all the things, but then when the lead turns into a conversation, we're not prepared or we don't want it. We're too good for it. And I think that that's where a lot of those leads you reference kind of fall off. Now there are garbage leads out there. Like there are
Right.
companies and
Absolutely. There
scams that
are.
do that. But I mean, even if they're garbage leads, it's a chance to get a rep, right? It's a chance to have
Absolutely.
that conversation and see if there is something there, right? And so I
Right.
think that that's really powerful. Is just early on, I always like to say, right? I'm sure there's agents that say that they've never taken a discounted, listing and all the
Sure, they
things.
haven't.
Right. And I'm going to tell you, I have, right? And I remember exactly what I thought. I was just like, well, $0,000 is a lot less than 5,000.
Right,
Right. And
right,
but the experience is there. And if you're taking that call from an $18,000 piece of dirt, buyer, who else does that buyer know? Who else are they going to
right.
connect you to? What
Well,
experience are
and
you going to get from it?
yeah, well, and that's exactly what I thought is, that's actually a very recent transaction that I did, and it was hard. They were moving their brand new double wide from another part of Texas, which is, if you've dealt with any of those at all, you know that a secondary move on a mobile home is a rough thing to deal. And these were first time land buyers. I won't say home buyers, but land buyers. And so they had a lot. So for the commission that I made off of that, it it was not what you would want, but that guy is the sweetest man, and his wife is so sweet, and he's a reverend at a church. And so you build that relationship, and they were so grateful at the end of it that that eventually when somebody at their new church home asks and says, "Who did you use?" It may not have been a huge commission, but it helped that family out. And then there's that repercussion on that they're going to refer you out somewhere because they raved about me at the end of it. And I don't discount my service based on what commission is coming in. I check in on them. If it's that kind of company or couple, I'll pray with you. If you need me to pray with you, we'll do whatever you need to do. Just let's get through this together. And nobody's counting it until the end. It is all. I would think of every one of them as you're getting experience under your belt, and that's a possible reference that goes on somewhere else. And I mean, you can look at my Zillow profile or any other. I've got 5-star reviews across the board, and that's because and Randy, Randy, my spouse, he tells me the same. He's like, "That's not your job, and you're working really hard for that." And I know, but I needed somebody to do that when I was a first time home buyer, or
Yep.
when I was buying land, or you know what I mean. And so that goes way further than I negotiated your contract, I let you in the house, and I scheduled your closing. So, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
mean, they're scared. They don't know what they're doing, and you do. That's why they hire you. And especially with what's been going on now with the settlements and all the changes and everybody's talking about, agents are going this way and agents are going that way. I'm proving my worth with every client that comes in my door, where they don't look at that closing statement and go, "You got how much?" They go, "It wasn't enough." You know what I mean? Because you're providing that kind of service.
Right.
And so
I think that's huge, right? You have this relationship now, right?
yeah,
Even if they never improve that lot or they never, move on from that place, you've had that profound impact on them. Likely they will, right? Because they're
right.
starting that wealth building journey. And who knows what AI robots and things will do in the future. But I can promise you that guy and that husband and wife are going to call you,
Right.
right? Because of that time served. And so that's the real key and the real impact that we love to have as we kind of navigate, right? That's exactly how I built my business. So obviously you're with us in the Wolfpack. Obviously had a really good start. How many homes have you sold?
I'm closing on
Or
my
pieces of real
seventh
estate, sorry.
pieces. Yeah, we've done some land, we've done some homes, we've done big ones, we've done small ones, but I close on my seventh one on Monday, which that one was the biggest Hail Mary I think I've ever thrown. So
Right.
we did a short closing. I think we had a 23-day from contract to close, and closing the day before Christmas Eve, and all because these first time home buyers, uh, all she wanted, we looked at a million places, and all she wanted was a house and a pair of slippers for Christmas. And so we made it happen. So
You better get her some slippers.
I hope she doesn't see this, but they are on the way to be under the tree that I put up in their house for
Oh, look
closing
at you.
day.
Like the
So,
extra touches. She won't see it. It won't be posted until after. But
yeah.
um so yeah, that's real impact, right? That's where it's at. And 7 transactions. I believe you started kind of basically June, right? So half a
June,
year.
yeah. I got my
Yep.
license in May and then did all the onboarding and stuff like that. And it was June when I started. So I
Right.
don't, and I'll tell you, you know how much I struggle with all the different platforms y'all had. You got a
Mhm.
bunch of those calls from me in the very beginning. If
Yep.
I need to get on what? So
Yeah.
it was overwhelming. It's still overwhelming, but
Hmm.
I found the two or three that I absolutely need to function and get through my transactions. And I just got onto mine and looked at my kind of revenue board, and I was like, oh, I did better than I like. I'm okay. I'm doing
Yeah.
okay. I mean, clearing. I'm $1,000 from in 7 months, 6 months from making what I made in a whole year in real estate as a paralegal. I mean, I just and I get to be at my kids' Christmas things in the morning. I just came from my
Right.
my daughter's Christmas program, and that's huge for me. Is that it is stressful, and I do answer phone calls and texts at 11 o'clock at night, but I'm here and I'm present with my kids, and I'm present at family events, and I may be on the phone a lot of it, but I'm here.
Right.
So
And I'll tell you right now, a deal plus a month in your first year is unheard of, and that's why I kind of wanted to bring you on. So as far as your transition to EXP and the Wolfpack, what's one thing that stands out? And I think I know what you're going to say because you've referenced it a couple times. But as a part of being a part of the Wolfpack at EXP, what's one thing that's helped your early success?
um, I say that there's somebody always available.
Hmm.
And even people that you don't necessarily know that are available. I've got because I know we're such a big company that there's several brokers that are in my realm here, and so I'm six months in, and I get a call every couple months from a broker team member that's just checking in to see if I've got questions, to see if I've got anything that I need. A huge shout out to my mentor Jen Bono that I didn't end up even going through the mentor program with her
Yeah.
because I just kind of tested out, but she answered, we talk personally, we talk real estate, we talk everything, and she's been great for just answering questions and all that kind of stuff. And even if I just need to rant about something going on, she's always there. And so I would say that even if it's just virtually, you guys are a huge support group that's there for help and answer any questions and can always point me in the right direction. And I say about EXP, I think I told you this in the beginning, but I chose EXP simply because I want you to tell me what to do, but I don't want you to tell me how to do it.
Yeah.
I like my own brand. You know how I market in town. Y'all laughed at that, but you know how I market in town, and it has paid off. That's one of my huge
Hmm.
leads. Like that's the say I'm at all the fundraisers and stuff, and I'm bidding on stuff. I'm shaking people's hands. I've got a float in all the parades. But one of my big deals is I get koozies printed out that I showed you, and I drop them at every bar, and I stock all of their little koozie deals. And so when I walk into a restaurant or wherever, and everybody has my koozie on their beer, that's basically free marketing that everybody's
Right.
walking around with,
Yeah.
and it always is a smooth transition for getting in on a conversation with somebody.
You're like,
So
hey,
um,
that's mine. I'm keeping your beer cold.
yeah. Well, I had a guy that asked me. He said if I asked me while I was standing in a place at dart tournament or something, and he asked if I had. He said I didn't know you had gotten into real estate. He said I've got a bunch of sales. Do you have a card? And I said it's on your beer. And he said that's the smoothest thing I've ever seen. Like, and
There
I
you go.
said
Yeah.
I appreciate it. So find your edge, but I do love that EXP is supportive, and there's never any. I don't think even with the agents here in Texas that are pretty local, I haven't had any kind of competition, that not one of them has not been proud or not said, hey, give me, you're brand new, but give me some tips. Like, what are you doing in that area that I can do in this town over or whatever? It has never been competitive at all.
Right.
And that's a huge thing to not have to be on necessarily on a team where you're sharing everything and sharing leads and sharing, but you get the same team atmosphere that somebody's always there to support and help and go to bat if they need to. So
Right. And we'll finish with this branding piece. Um, as we talk 6, 7 months after we initially talked, you're the same Ashley that I talked to
that
then, right? So
is great to hear.
what you're doing is just going where the people are. You've added the koozies. but you
Yep.
went to dart tournaments, you were involved in your community, you're doing these things, but now you're just subtly introducing the real estate piece. So that's absolutely key. And the story, you've already told the story, right? It's on your koozie,
Right.
right? Call me. And it comes up naturally when you build that brand and you're able to be your unique self, right? You don't have the EXP umbrella. You have to obviously follow the brokerage laws with the state and stuff like that. But one of the biggest assets to this company is the ability to just brand yourself, live your life, tell your story. And that's just a
Right.
testament to what you've done. So totally
Well,
appreciate that info.
well, and B, I don't think that I've told you this, but I know that you've been on me about getting on social media and doing the videos and stuff
Mhm.
like that, which I'm not there. I'm working on it, but I'm not there. But
You're on video right
I
now.
have taken yeah, I've taken kind of a page out of your book because you get on and you talk real estate, like you know what you're doing and you're glad to talk about it. And that's me. It always comes up in conversation and I could do it all day long. And that's one of the things that I offer to people. I'm not pushing you. I'm not anything. Even if you've already got, a family friend or something that you're thinking about doing and you just need advice, you want to call and you want my take on the market. And I'm glad to do that. Let's have coffee. Let's talk the market. Give me a phone call and I'll tell you what I think is going to go on in the next few months, which I've been pretty dead on since January. But so I'm happy to do that. And advice is always free.
Yeah.
And
And
I
if
think that is a big thing for people too, is because they think, oh, well, how much are you going to charge me for that? It shocks me a little bit that people don't know really the difference between just an agent or somebody that does a lot of a buyer, buyer's agent and a listing agent, and what the kind of rules are there or regulations. And um, somebody may just need to call and ask you questions. They may just need information. They may not be ready to buy. They may not be able to rent. They just want to ask questions. And when they do get to that point, everything has to be kind of where you're lining it up for success later. So, and
absolutely.
I think that's my main thing is just talk real estate with everybody, talk the market, talk finances, talk all of it. And so it may not be on a podcast, but it
Yeah.
happens.
I'm sure it does. And guess what? The results don't lie. And so, since our audience is mainly real estate agents, I would imagine that you'd open that conversation up to the newer agents. Give her a call. She would love to assist you in those things and have those conversations, not just in Texas, but across the country. And so,
Yeah.
what's the best way to get in touch with you? Would it be a cell phone? Do you want them to go to your social? What would you prefer?
Yeah, absolutely. My social, it's a mix of my chaotic, we've got an ag life over here. We show pigs and we've got sheep and we've got, we hunt and we do. So you've got a lot of that on my social media, but I do plug a lot of real estate. So my personal Facebook page is Ashley Bates, and y'all are always welcome to call my cell. I'm always available. And so I'm sure we'll ping that somewhere
Yeah,
on
we'll
there
put that in the
too.
comments below. But Ashley,
Absolutely.
thanks so much for that. And she is a wealth of knowledge, and I will tell you that her Facebook page is just her brand. Right? It is what it is. It's all part of the story, right? And so
Yeah.
I know that the real estate specific socials and stuff like that, but just being on social, being yourself on there is an attractive piece for the real estate industry, right? Like people
Right.
see that, they're like, oh, yep, I hunt, yep, I raise pigs, or I wish I could, or all the things, right? And so
Yeah.
definitely a worthy stop on your scrolling to check her out. So Ashley, thanks so much for hopping on, and continued success, and let's continue to grow, and anything you need, we're always here for you.
Absolutely. I appreciate y'all so much. Y'all been great, and we'll talk soon.
All right, we'll see you next time.
All right, thanks.
Wow, if you didn't need me to tell you, that authenticity of Ashley shows through and is absolutely one of the cornerstones to her absolutely fast start in our industry as a real estate agent. Obviously, she's had the history on the other side. But if you heard anything in that conversation that resonated with you, please check the comments below, check the description, and I will make sure that I link her phone number, her socials, so you get in touch with her. And of course, as always, if you're interested in partnering with us at the Wolfpack and you mention this video to me, you can go ahead and book a call at the REagent, wolfpack.com. We'll link that below too. But absolutely so great to see a new agent come into a really tough market, right? 2024 was an extremely tough market, and she's absolutely crushing it. So hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Like, comment, subscribe, share the podcast. Let's go.